films is getting expensive, but I'm pretty satisfied with this old cheap camera. This is an old point shoot camera from 2006. Everything about this camera is slow. It takes time to turn on and can take just one shot per 7 seconds. And this 17 years old screen does not show accurate results. But the combination of CCD sensor and Leica lens is fantastic. Not every time, but when the situation matches, the result is amazing. Another thing this camera reminds me is the feeling of mechanical body from piezo metals when we use film cameras. This camera is not having mechanical parts like them, but it's made of piezo metals and feels really good in a hand. I feel some nostalgia from images, but unlike other old point shoot cameras, this camera actually takes good clean images. I'm using Lumix G85 as my main camera, but some of my most favorite photos are actually from this camera. I don't know why, but it looks a bit different. The excitement of shooting is kind of similar to the film, and I like it. Raw image is a bit different in good way from what I see on the tiny screen. So I'm always excited to see raw files on the laptop. Lumix tuned JPEGs was a bit too much saturation, which I don't really like, but in raw, images looks more natural and amazing. As it's been 17 years since this camera came out, this camera have a terrible low light performance. But I don't hate these noisy images. Yes, it's impossible to denoise these ugly noises, but instead, I like to add more noises to give the old noisy film look. Or just set the ISO below 400 and use longer shutter speeds. This camera have a good image stabilization, and with some practice, we can use longer shutter speeds. Also, I realized that there are two ISO modes, and we can choose whether give a priority on higher shutter speeds or low ISO. One thing I really hate is actually not just about this camera, but about all these point shoot cameras. These cameras tend to have dust in the lenses after a few years, and it appears on photos. All my point shoot cameras have this symptom, and that's the main reason why I stopped using them and moved to micro four thirds. But fortunately, this camera have relatively low open apertures, and dusts are not that obvious in wide open apertures. But overall, I really appreciate this camera as I cannot afford many films after paying my university tuition fees. But still I can enjoy photography with this camera. Thank you for watching. This camera have a good image stabilization.